Shedeur Sanders finds himself in a remarkable position.
Let's go. Wanna be the greatest, be the starter, that's good news.
Y'all look at it as like a competition.
My answer to this question would be Deshaun Watson.
I think each and every person that walks into this locker room should have that mindset that you want to start. That's why we show up each and every day.
This is the most important thing I have to do in my life.
Good news.
Welcome to NFL Live. A decision has finally been made in Cleveland as the Browns have officially named Deshaun Watson as their Week 1 starter. Here's both head coach Todd Monken and Deshaun Watson today.
Deshaun is going to start against Jacksonville. Took in the full body of work over the course of off-season to training camp to the games, the joint practice, and ultimately felt like to start the season on the road, Deshaun gave us the best chance to move the ball and score points. I mean, that's really what it's about. Felt that way going into the last game, but wasn't sure. And after we talked as a staff and after we re-looked at everything, we're going to go that direction.
It's great. You know, like I mentioned before, you know, this is what I've been working for 2 years, is to be able to show that, you know, I'm capable of being a starter for one of the 32 organizations in this league. And, you know, today was a assignment I had no idea until I walked into the building, and I talked with Coach Monk, and it felt good, you know, and a lot of excitement. But it comes with a lot of work too. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of challenges that I have to continue to overcome, and I just got to continue to work on, you know, achieving those victories each and every day. So I'm ready and prepared, and you know, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, but at the same time, you know, I'm excited to be, you know, a starting quarterback in this league, and especially a starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
All right, we welcome in our Browns reporter, Daniel Oyefusi. And Daniel, what more can you tell us about how Monken came to the decision to start Watson over Shedeur Sanders?
Yeah, Laura, head coach Todd Monken said he took in the full body of work over the past couple months when making this decision. But one specific factor was starting the first 2 games of the season on the road and the pre-snap operation. Monken has been really meticulous over the summer about getting in and out of the huddle, cadence, making the right checks, and that really hints at the experience of Watson, a 9-year veteran. Now, the last time we saw Watson on the field last Saturday, he struggled in the second half against the Bills. He was booed by the home crowd, but Monken said he doesn't expect this quarterback decision to be a week-to-week thing. He said, we anticipate Deshaun playing well or we wouldn't be starting him.
Yeah, Watson is 7-0 in his career against the Jaguars, Daniel, 30-35 versus all others. So get that test early on. We appreciate you. Now, Watson missed a lot of time since joining the Browns in 2022, but even when he did play, the results just weren't there, right? The former Pro Bowler is among the bottom 5 since then in off-target percentage, yards per attempt, and QBR. It'll be his first NFL game in nearly 700 days when he takes the field in Week 1 against the Jags. We're glad you're with us today. We've got Adam Schefter, Dan Orlovsky, Field Yates, Mina Kimes is here as well. Dan, there's a lot to get into here, right? Let's start with your reaction to the Browns' decision to go with Watson as the starter, especially after the way things transpired after that Saturday game that Daniel was just referencing there.
I was shocked that they went with Deshaun Watson. If this was strictly football, it would be a coin flip to me. 50-50, start the guy that you want, and if you want to go with the veteran Watson, go ahead. But for a franchise that has the passionate fan base that Cleveland does and has been searching for a quarterback that they can kind of get behind, certainly for 2 decades and since Baker Mayfield, and the way that Deshaun Watson handled that press conference, I was shocked. And that has to be a little bit more about it than other than just football. I thought Deshaun played okay in preseason week 1. I thought he was really bad this past Saturday. I thought Shedeur played okay in week 1, and I thought he was okay in week 2. So to go with Deshaun Watson, outside of the people continuously pointing out the contract and the picks given up for him, I just can't find one reason to what I've seen on tape.
Yeah, first to address the presser side of it, which I think is what led to this feeling so shocking. I was surprised, Dan, that for Deshaun Watson, a player who's now, it's been years since the trade happened, since 27 allegations of sexual harassment and assault came out. In that time frame, the fact that he has still not developed the ability to talk about this, he talked about personal issues, and not show any sense of contrition or acceptance or growth, quite frankly, was pretty jarring to see. As far as the football side of it go, I agree with your assessment. I mean, I've watched every snap Watson has played since becoming a Brown, before the injury, and now in the preseason, and he is a shell of the quarterback he was early in his career. I think if I had to just isolate the one thing that stands out, it's an unwillingness or hesitation to push the ball downfield that stands in such stark contrast to who he was. And frankly, it puts a cap on this offense. Even if they feel the operation is cleaner and he'll play on time more so than Shedeur, it's not going to be explosive and exciting with this quarterback. Maybe he's been better in practice. We've been hearing that all summer. But that practice has not translated to a game situation now in 2 separate weeks. So for me, from the outside, it's really hard to feel like this is about anything other than the money. And it should be noted that in addition to giving Watson the initial $230 million guaranteed, despite all of the sexual assault and harassment allegations, the Browns kept kicking the can down the road, which has only made it financially more difficult. But Field, if you're a Browns fan, it's hard to feel excited or optimistic about the season given all this.
No question about that, Mina. The next 2 years are going to be very painful from a salary cap perspective when Deshaun Watson almost assuredly won't be on the roster. I think a lot of us probably already felt this way, but today was yet another, to me, message from the Cleveland Browns that the quarterback of their future is not on the roster right now. They have 2 first-round picks in the 2027 NFL draft. That's probably when they will acquire their quarterback of the future. And I know that Shedeur Sanders fans are a very passionate bunch and probably feel like he is or can be the answer for Cleveland. If the Browns felt that way, he'd be starting from the very beginning of the season. Because if you believe in enough in a player to be your QB1 of the future, you're going to believe in enough in that player to start week 1. I read this as the Browns are going to let Deshaun Watson start the season. At some point, we're all going to realize the clock has reached midnight on him as the Browns starting quarterback. There will be a lot less pressure on Shedeur Sanders because you've already seen what Deshaun Watson brings to the table. And then Shedeur Sanders will play the rest of the year because for a young quarterback, those reps are valuable. And figuring out what level of quarterback can be in the NFL. Right now, they're telling us it's not a high-level starter.
Well, you and Mina referred to the contract. If they released him now, which they're not going to do, it would be a $41 million dead cap charge this year and $86.2 million next year, one of the largest cap hits in NFL history. Now, we've seen teams get through that. The Denver Broncos got through that. The Arizona Cardinals are trying to get through that. But this would be an exorbitant amount of money that they have against the cap. And they continue to push it off and push it off. And by going with Deshaun Watson now, they're not saying that he's the starting quarterback for the whole season. They're not saying he's the starting quarterback for the majority of the season. They're saying he's the starting quarterback for week 1 on the road in Jacksonville. I would think he's going to get another week beyond that in Tampa. And after that, I think all bets are off. If he plays well, the 2 games on the road, he will continue on. If he doesn't, by the time they have their home opener, Shedeur Sanders will step in. And he may have been the starter named today, but I still think that there's a realistic possibility that Shedeur Sanders winds up starting significantly more games this season than Deshaun Watson.
Okay, so important context and makes sense, especially when you think about the dead cap hit that Shefty's referencing here. What does Shedeur need to do to stay ready for these opportunities that are most certainly coming, Dan?
Simply put, stay ready.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the big thing is not, and it sounds like he's handled it well, but not getting like down and defeated about this news. And stay ready, understanding that Deshaun's play has not been worthy and the injury history and the health hasn't been there. And so if I'm Shedeur, I'm preparing every single day like I am the starting quarterback. It was sharp this past weekend. He didn't deal with any type of pressure from the defense from Buffalo. But I think that's the big thing is just stay ready because the likelihood is almost 100% he'll play.
His time is coming. It is coming. It's just not coming in the opener at Jackson.
Which I think is very telling, by the way. Again, there are a lot of people that I understand support Shedeur Sanders and believe the Browns have their quarterback of the future. The Browns made it crystal clear to us today. They don't believe that player, Shedeur Sanders, right now. Maybe he can play and change their minds, but if they felt that way, this wouldn't be a conversation. He'd be the week 1 starter.